No, I was at art college.
You were at art college.
Yes.
Please tell us about your experience.
So I'm Dutch, but I lived in Belgium with my family, my father being Dutch and my mother being Italian. Went to art college in Belgium, but I never felt really part of that society. Somehow I felt like an outsider, what you were saying. And so I was really very much seeking, and I very much was aware of the fact that people live in a relative world. All their conversations, there's never an absolute level. So I was very much seeking. And I went to Paris, actually driven by a force, and I was aware that there was something that was pulling me towards the south. And I remember writing a poem before I left about the mother. I still have to find it somewhere in the attic of my parents' house. But
Yes.
so I was in Paris seeking. I went to a lecture given by TM. Sort of wasn't so impressed, and I also was looking for some guru type group that I had been reading about, and I went to a few sessions for 6 months in Belgium. Won't name the name now. And I couldn't find these people. Although I had addresses, I couldn't find them. And later Shimaji said, a year later she said, that all the boots had run away out of Paris when she was in Paris. So then I was roaming around the Centre Beaubourg there to do some research in this gallery, and I saw this poster of Shimaji, the black and white, mudra one, which therefore we all still love because it was used a lot and attracted a lot of people. And went to the meeting. It was early September '81, and I was in the hall, and Shimaji was there, and I didn't understand a word of what she was saying. Also, my English wasn't so good, but I couldn't grasp anything that she was saying, but I was fascinated. And what did it also for me on the knowledge side was the Chari Chakra, as we call it, the Chakra chart. Because it summarized everything I'd been trying to understand and picked up in books here and there by gurus who speak about the navel chakra and the sahasrara and whatever, or the heart, but they never really put the whole picture together in a way that is really understandable for people. That was the game they're playing, I think. So I was in the hall there in Paris very early September '81, and Shimaji came around to the people to give realization, followed by always a group of yogis who were around the person to raise their kundalini collectively. And so Shimaji came to me, and she had a glass of water, put some water on the sahasrara, and she said, "Close your eyes." And so I closed my eyes, and then she says after a while, "Open your eyes." And I open my eyes, and Shri Mataji is smiling with her eyes wide open, 2 inches from my face. And I sort of start laughing, and everyone starts laughing, and they feel the vibrations, etc. So I didn't feel vibrations at that point, but that was fun. And then she went to the next person next to me with the same glass and asked me to hold the glass for her. And that did something that you also explained. It sort of made me feel that I'm part of this family, I'm part of her work, and she is asking me to join in, you know. So, and that really did something, because then I found myself, after that, go to the yogis who were working on some other people, and I just wanted to join in and help to raise kundalinis of people, even though I didn't know what I was doing. And the next meeting, there was a follow-up 2 days later in Paris, and I went to that as well. And I remember we were allowed to ask some questions, and I asked one question to her, which was, what do you do, Shimaji, to combine or to harmonize the desire and the action? Because these two are never, it's very difficult to bring these two together. And she explained this, what she does, you know, whereby you have the left side and the right channel. And when they come closer, you get one channel in the middle. And she said that's the Kundalini. And when the Kundalini raises fully, the two channels are totally in harmony and one. So
you'd go like,
so like this.
Do it for the camera.
My mother did like this. You know, if the two come together, you get the third channel in the middle. And then ultimately, it becomes one. So you're totally only one with the Kundalini or with Mother's power. And then, then I had a strong experience. And then there was a follow-up meeting, but not in Paris, but in Lille, So Lille, north
Okay.
of Paris, 2
Okay.
hours north of Paris. And I hitchhiked to Lille the next morning. So I arrived in Lille, public program, and Shimaji saw me and laughed, smiled. But she was different. She had a different aspect. She looked rounder and smiled, but also in a very powerful way, not just a sweet smile, but a sort of knowing smile, you know. And I thought, later I realized, I thought she was like in Ganesha form. Thought. But then she came around to the people again, and I felt dreadful. I felt I was drinking a lot. And I felt really bad, aching in my body. And I sat down and she came around and I asked her, Shimaji, I would like to be delivered from all negative energy. That's what I was saying. And she said, you are already delivered. And I didn't understand it because I felt dreadful. But then, you know, later it dawned upon me what it was. And the next thing that happened, I have 2 more things to add, because it brought me to London the same week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was planning to go to the south of France, and I had a return ticket from Belgium to Paris, and I lost the return ticket.
Okay.
So I was in Lille, lost my return ticket, and after that program, some Lille people invited me to their flat, and I arrived at the flat, and all the yogis were outside the flat. I mean, there was Phil Ward there, and I think Arno. And Shimaji just had a puja there. It was on the Sunday after the program. And she had left, and these people invited me to the flat. So I sit in this flat with all the yogis who just had a puja. And they invited me to stay the night, and they were telling me, you should go to London, Shimaji lives there, there's Chelsham Road, we just had weddings there, which was in August 1981. I don't know if any one of you married there. No. So they said, go to Chelsea Road and you can meet Sri Mataji, she will talk to you, etc. I said, okay, yeah. So I went. And I hitchhiked again, and I never in my life had such an easy hitchhike. Someone picked me up on a boat, I meet someone, they give me a lift to London, they allow me to sleep at their flat, etc. Everything was very smooth. That was a sign for me. Something has changed here. Another thing that had changed is that overnight after my first meeting, when I saw the chakras on the chart, and I understood Nabi, void, etc., I understood there was negativity, etc., I woke up with above my navel a big spot, which stayed there for a long time, but it was like a physical sign that the Kundalini wasn't just talk, it was actually having a physical impact on clearing you out. And then I arrived in London at Chelsham Road, that was the address that was given. Someone opens the door and they say, well, it's not here that it's happening, it's in Bramham Gardens. So I went to Bramham Gardens and Nick Kurzweil opens the door. And I saw him look at this guy with long hair and a rucksack. And I saw that he was hesitating to let me in or not, you know, what to do. And so I owe him that he let me in. And then Shimaji was there, and she gave some talks in the living room there. And then she said that I could stay, you know. And so I stayed in the room of a guy who's now out of Sahaja Yoga called Daniel. He was at one point a leader in America. And he spoke all night to me, the whole evening, about Shimaji and the divine and that she's God. And so I got the whole thing, the whole knowledge there. And that night there was a candle in front of Shimaji's picture. And I just lied on he gave me his bed. I lied on the bed, looked at the candle and Mother's photograph, and I could not sleep the whole night. And I had the strongest experience I've ever had, vibrationally. It was like a waterfall going through me, but the whole night I was like paralyzed, lying on my bed. The whole night.
Wow.
The whole night. And the next morning, Shimaji went to America in September '81. And so we all went to the airport, and I was finished. I was so tired. I hadn't slept all night. And I felt still dreadful, actually. And Shimaji arrives, and she saw me, and she just came straight to me, smiling, and held her hand out, and I spontaneously put my hand on her hand. And it was a sign that she was saying to me that she knew what she had been doing, or she was telling me that she was actually the one who had been giving me that incredible experience during the night.